Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Stranded, Alien Dawn. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Jerome. Let's get to it. So today we're taking first steps into survival. But before we get to that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. So let's get into it. So Stranded, Alien Dawn has a variety of different mission types, environments, aliens, and it's all procedurally generated, so every time you play around, it's going to go differently. So, to start off, there are 3 different victory modes that you can play. The first one is the one that I'm doing, which is the survival victory. There's another that is a merchant victory, and then another that's a military victory. I think they're all relatively self-explanatory, but I'll go into it real quickly. So survival, of course, is being able to have your people survive and potentially get off planet. The merchant victory is you have to make enough money in order to be able to buy the planet. And then a military victory is just that. You're waging war and you have to destroy all the competition, basically. So since we're doing survival, the survival is the only one where you crash land. Everything else is, you didn't crash land, you purposely came to the planet. So you have different biomes that you can be in. Different moons, different survivors. So there's your shuttle crash lands or escape pod, whatever that happens to be, and 4 survivors. How many people there were originally, we don't know, and we may not want to know. Most important thing to do right off the bat, of course, is to salvage what we can from the shuttle and build shelters. Now there's 4 survivors, and each survivor, depending on who you get, there's a large data bank of survivors. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, their peculiarities. If you want to know more about a survivor, you can click on them. Now, using a controller, it does take a little bit of getting used to the control scheme, but there are plenty of tutorials to go through, and it's not like, okay, you've done the tutorial, now you can actually play and never see the tutorial again. They're there whenever you need it. So if you're like, man, how do I do that thing again? You can just go back to that category, because they've got movement and battles and defense and building and light and heat and all that good stuff. So anything you want to know. Speaking of, one of the things, this ties into the strengths and weaknesses of the different survivors. You can see the chart down below, and right above it, it'll say who has what, and the higher the number for each person, the better they are. And the lower the number on the chart is the higher priority. So 1 is the highest priority, 5 is the lowest, and then blank is never do that. So if someone is got a 0 for something, you probably don't want them to do whatever it is, whatever task, and it just goes left to right. So if there is something to do on the left and you've got a 1, they're going to go ahead and do that right off the bat. If it's a 5, they're going to move on. It's kind of a preference and priority, and each survivor, like I said, they all have their strengths and weaknesses. Now, one of the nice things is, unless they are incapable, like I'm hopeless in combat, don't give me any sort of weapon kind of thing, where there'll be a 0 and they cannot improve. Otherwise, everyone can improve their skills, even if it's at 0. And how do you do that, you say? Well, you just do the thing that it says to do. Now, everything has the capability of failing. So, if you from hunting to harvesting to building to crafting, everything, if you don't have a high enough skill, or your survivor doesn't have a high enough skill, it's going to fail. And you don't want to be failing when you're trying to save someone's life, or when you're hunting something that is potentially dangerous, and we don't know what's dangerous and what is maybe just not as dangerous. So that's the other thing, is that it can feel a little underwhelming what you can do at the very beginning, because you just don't know anything about the planet. You don't know about the surroundings. You don't know, and your supplies are relatively low because, like I said, you didn't plan on crashing into the planet. It just happened. So of course the one guy was like, had a full-on breakdown after the crash, which is not uncommon. You expect at least one person to have a breakdown after the crash, if not several. So in order to learn more about what is going on in the world around you, you have to observe. And depending on how high your skill will determine how long it takes you to do those things. Now, these are just kind of makeshift shelters. And one of the things that you learn in the tutorial is that you can make stockpiles. It doesn't cost anything. It's just putting stuff on the ground. But you're designating a spot as, this is a place that we're going to put stuff. So everything has a health or durability. So if it's just sitting out in the sun, it's going to start to rot no matter what it is. Just like real life. If it's under a roof, so under a shelter, then either it will stay good forever until you use it, or it'll degrade slower. So things like food will degrade, but it won't degrade as quickly. And then later on, you'll see that we'll be able to make coolers and freezers and stuff that will keep things good for much longer. But for right now, just keeping it under a roof will help the durability and help things last a lot longer. And of course, we're going to put some bedding under the shelter for people to sleep on. And since there's 4 people, we're going to need an extra shelter here, which I didn't count on. And then make another sleeping sleeping spot. Make it a little bit more comfortable than just sleeping on the ground. And then the other thing is we're going to have a campfire. As you see in the top left, you can see the temperature. And it's kind of like a laser, one of those laser pointer temperature gauges. So every spot, wherever you're at, it'll tell you what the temperature is at that spot. So if you're inside of a house and you're showing what or you're wondering what temperature it is, you can see, and then you can go from there. So currently it's spring, and it does have the full day, night, spring, summer, fall, winter. So we have to start preparing now that we have shelter, we've got a fire, we've got places to sleep, and we've got a place for everything that we're scavenging and getting that might be of use from the shuttle and from the world around us. So there is so much going on. The first 10 minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes even of starting a game is just feels like non-stop run, get stuff done. Game in real time. In game time, it could be a couple hours, and you can see day one, and what hour of the day it is, and you can watch the wind blowing through and the shadows moving as the day moves on. And you can change the time. So if something important is happening and you need a minute to think, you can pause the game. Game time freezes, and then once you're ready to go, issue the orders and then move forward. All right, so we're kind of set up here. We got a rough camp, but we also need a table with a couple chairs, because the survivors like to have some comfort, and if they're standing up when they're eating, or if they just want to rest, sit down and rest, then they can. There are 4 survivors, so we could do a big table with 4 chairs, but at least right now I think we need a table and 2 chairs. So going through and everything, you can click on just about everything, and if it's anything other than like your spaceship or something that you've built, some of the ground area, then you can go over there and you can cut down the trees, you can observe, and that will help you understand more about things and unlock more potential. So the bushes, and you get back up just a second, and you see the notifications on the right hand side. So as we're scavenging from the spaceship, anything that you scavenge will pop up there. New discoveries will pop up, and you can go over there and clear things out. Also, things will pop up there that need your attention. If someone doesn't have anything to do, or they're about to melt down, etc. All right, so while we're at it, everyone's scheduled. They can do whatever they want, which is usually take a walk, meditate, sleep in the evening, and then work during the day. But we're going to put in some relaxation time, about 2 hours, where it's kind of mandatory. Take some time off, relax, and we'll spread it out there. So no 2 survivors are what's going on over here, are relaxing at the same time when we might need it. Trouble in paradise already. Got these raptor-like birds that are going after these skinny stegosaurus-looking guys. Just like we have a herbivores and carnivores. In real life, there's also that whole chain web of life going on here. So observing and realizing like how aggressive or passive different animals are will help you out. And the only way to know really is either, like we saw with the little raptors, that something was going on with them. So observing stuff will help you. It'll go a long way so that you know what you can use stuff for. And it takes time, and depending on the person that's doing the task, it could take longer or it could take shorter. So the people have room for improvement. And if they are interested, if you see someone has a stat, maybe even if it's low, oh, look at this. Celebrate surviving the first day. Hooray, we did it. So we'll do a party. So this game is a slow burn. You're not going to win, even if you know exactly what to do. You're not going to win right away. You're not going to lose right away. So there is each venture will take some time, and there's many degrees of separation between perfect run and absolute worst run in history. All right, so the birds took out one of the guys, one of the little stegosaurus, skinny stegosaurus, and one of the stegosauruses took out one of the birds. So we can butcher those up. Maybe we can use those for something. Now let's see what the celebration is. They're all going to go around the campfire and regale each other with stories of how awesome they did after the crash or something to that effect. Need more storage space, so we're doing that as well. And it's like, okay, so man, that's a heck of a celebration you guys got going there. Yeah, 2 people sleeping, 1 guy working, and 1 guy hanging out at the campfire. Good job. So we'll see what happens here with the celebration, and probably leave it there. Pick it up next time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
PlayStation